Crap. Where's my hand trowel? Kim cleans my truck, then puts everything away, and I can't ever find it. Welcome back, friends of G&K. I'm actually pumped because we're scouting and evaluating our first planted corn of 2025. So we're still in April. There's a lot of corn that's already been planted. There's a lot of corn to be planted. And a lot of people are still in progress. So it's a great way to evaluate what's already been put in the ground, get an idea what it's gone through, maybe learn a few things that we could tweak as we wrap up planting, or even those that have barely started. So I'm looking at a cornfield that's actually been planted about a week. And so I just want to kind of see how even it's coming up. If there are any issues, is there anything we can do differently? Did we do a good job in the first place? That's what we're here evaluating. And this is something you can think about yourself as you're about to finish planting or get started. So to me, the date on the calendar is not as important as the conditions of the soil and the forecast thereafter. That matters more to me than what the calendar says. Ideally, the more heat units or the more GDUs we can accumulate after planting ensures your success in terms of evenness. And if you want to raise big numbers, we have to have evenness. They have to fire at the same time. They have to germinate at the same time. And so if we put seed in the soil and it lays cold for a long period of time, or we get a rain and then it's cold, that's going to really affect GDU accumulation and how even it's going to be. Most corn hybrids will vary some, but it takes about 100 to 150 GDUs to get corn out of the ground. And so you can think about that depending on what the forecast is going to be. Fortunately, our forecast this week includes some rain, but it is warm, and the forecast thereafter is continued warmth. I really like seeing that planting corn. So I'm looking at this stand right here, and we're just spiking through. I'll tell you what I like to see here is every one of these are at the same growth stage. The spike is at the same position. They're all there. Our spacing looks really good. One of the first things I'm going to do is evaluate my planting seed bed by carefully dissecting this, laying those out, and I'm gonna kind of compare a couple plants to see, is my depth staying consistent? So what happens first is when that plant germinates, it sends out the radicle. That's the first root. After that, it sends up the coleoptile, which is our spike. When the spike sees sunlight, it sets the crown 3/4 of an inch deeper than the surface. So this knot is actually the crown. And so the length of this coleoptile plus 3/4 of an inch is your planting depth. You can actually determine that all the way into harvest. It's kind of cool, actually. What I like to see on these is the depth is very consistent. Growth stage is very consistent from plant to plant. Makes me smile. We're standing in a field that actually has some variable soils. We got some light exchanges, there's some dark heavy exchanges. It's always important to look at both different soil types to see how they've handled the stress, if we went through some stress, and how they've germinated. Don't just look in one spot and call it good. It's good to evaluate. If you have farms that are consistently the same soil type, which a few of you do, it's not as important. But we're standing in a field that has some extremely variability in soil, so I like to see how those soil types change. I'm going to show you another little secret. If you want to evaluate your seed bed, whether you're no-till, tillage, or anything, I like digging ahead of the plant. Then take a pocket knife and carefully carve back the soil away from the next plant. And what you really should see, you should find that kernel and you should wonder, this is the worm's eye view. So we're looking at the worm's eye view of this kernel, and you should wonder how it got there. If you can tell how it got there, meaning we have the seed trench that was too wet and we firmed it shut, or we didn't firm it shut correctly because it was too wet at planting, you're going to create sidewall compaction, tomahawked roots, and you're going to have issues down the road, especially when it quits raining this summer. But when that's in the soil like this and you can dig this back and you can't tell how that seed got there, we did a great job. A lot of that has to do with down pressure on your planter. With technology today, with automatic down pressure control, it's almost eliminated that risk that we used to carry years ago. As a general rule of thumb, you should see the footprint of your gauge wheel beside the row. It's not wrong to see that. And to know that you had the right amount of down pressure, like I said, when you dig this back and have a worm's eye view and you can't see how that seed got there, we probably had the right amount of down pressure. That is one of the best pieces of technology you could ever have on a corn planter today, especially if you have variability in your soil types in your fields. Soil structure is an important element. I can always tell if somebody did a good job of managing soil structure and pushing conditions by the depth of their tracks on the end rows and in the field. This particular field was planted with a planter under tracks, and it did a really good job of supporting that unit. I'm actually pretty impressed. Let's go check out another field. So I'll never lose this thing from the next field. I'll just put it right here as we ride to the next field. We're coming up to this guy on the road wearing a road colored shirt just to be safe so we don't run into him. Smart. This is a great opportunity, if you still have corn to plant, to stop, evaluate what you've already planted to see if you need to make changes to finish. We got some rain right after planting and we got a little bit of a crust here. And that coleoptile is about ready to push through. And if we don't get a rain to soften that crust, we could turn that thing and leaf out underground. And once that thing turns and goes sideways and leafs out underground, it's done. But you have a little bit of window to save this or rectify it if necessary. Sometimes a great way to fix a crust like this is to set your planter at the shallowest setting, run light down pressure, and you run right back down the row, and it basically fractures this crust and it allows that corn to push right on through. It's one of the best rotary harrows there is. So again, we're on varying soil types. So I'm going to look at a couple areas of the field to see if we consistently are dealing with this light crust or if it just happens to be on this high ground that we are standing. You know what I really need is a steak and shake chocolate milkshake. I'm a sucker for those. And 2 to 4 happy hour. We got 45 minutes. We're steak and shaking it on the way through. We're okay today. However, if we continue to not get rain and this crust intensifies, which it's not going to get any less, this corn might be in trouble. So if we don't get a rain on this in a timely fashion in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to be thinking really hard about breaking this crust mechanically. Get on it. See how that one's starting to turn? It's starting to leaf out underground. Believe it or not, you can save that guy, but time is of the essence. You got about a day to save him, maybe. This one's okay, but the moment they start leafing out underground, you will not, there's no turning back. Best things you can do is keep an eye on your own fields on a weekly basis. You will learn so much and you can eliminate so many issues if you just pay attention to what's going on your own farm. But before we get to that milkshake, I want to check this one field of early planted beans just to make sure they're okay. Beans, we got a pretty decent crust here too, because this got a decent rain after it's planted, but they're doing okay for now. Beans are pretty resilient as long as we aren't snapping necks. And we got rain coming, so this is yet to be determined, but I think we're going to be okay here. So as you can see, being out here early, we're able to prevent losing some corn. So we have a plan of attack. We're going to go save that corn, bust the crust, and life is good. So it doesn't matter whether you're just getting started, halfway done, or even completely done. If you get out there early, you can start to identify what you did right, what you did wrong, what changes you can make for future. You can always learn something. So hopefully there's something you can take from this video back to your own operation. And as always, we're trying to bring innovative ideas to the farm. And thanks again for tuning in on this video, and we hope to see you in the next one. Boom! Hey Siri, navigate to Steak and Shake.
One option is Steak and Shake on Illinois Road in Fort Wayne.
Are we just in time for happy hour milkshakes?
You were just in time, honestly. You literally had 2 minutes left.
Money.
2 minutes.